so high, running with the wolves, breaking all the rules. We're near the end, baby. No matter what we do, it keeps ticking away, ticking away. You are my summertime love in the faraway place, with your loving soul and that beautiful face. No one can know about the days I spent in your embrace. You're no good for me, it's what they're all gonna say.
Win.sliver.tv. As you watch CSGO, you'll earn free coins. Pick the team you think will win and boost your bet. Earn more coins by answering trivia. Bet correctly to get raffle tickets. Win awesome prizes like CSGO skins, virtual reality headsets, and more. Play now at win.sliver.tv. By answering trivia. Bet correctly to get raffle tickets. Win awesome prizes like CSGO skins, virtual reality headsets, and more. Play now at win.sliver.tv.
Grab your gear and let's go.
With the Strafe Esports app, follow your favorite teams and players. and you'll never miss a match again. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
Oh, crap.
Oh, what do we got here? Looks like a digital video game for the iPhone, Android, and iPad. It's called Pocket Morty. Look at all these little Mortys that you get to run around and collect. Mustache Morty, cat Morty, one eyeball Morty. This just seems really cruel. I mean, come on. What are you doing? It's free. It's a free game. It's not pay to win either. It's Pocket Morty's. Get over here and pick it up. It's a free game.
DreamHack Masters Malmo is brought to you by Aces ROG, HyperX, and Monster Energy.
Counter-Strike is back in action. Summer is over, at least the player break is, and now DreamHack Masters returns with another iteration of Malmo. It's a historic location where some of the most insane Counter-Strike has gone down. We saw Swedes rise in front of a Swedish crowd, and now we see what's going to go down in Chinatown this year. 2017, here in Malmo, and it is time to once again get our heads in the game. It's been a while, 36 days since that major did end, and now, my God, is there a lot to talk about, and I'm hopefully going to be hearing from the boys. I'm Alex Machine Richardson, and before I introduce anything else, a big thank you to the sponsors that made this possible. First of all, of course, Monster Energy, Aces ROG, and the boys from HyperX, who came together to make this prize pool and make this event as pretty as it is. And talking of pretty, some of the boys have got a tan. We took a bit of a holiday, the players did, but so did we. Chad, you've always been a bit...
So my holidays didn't really exist, Alex, but these guys are looking much more tan than me.
I'm still loving the whole haircut, however. You're looking fresh. You're looking...
Thank you.
I mean, did you do things outside of Counter-Strike for the holiday?
I tried to. You know, as you can tell, I've gotten massively ripped.
You are looking hench,
so I've gotten massive. That's pretty much what I did this break.
So you've been hitting the gym. Any Counter-Strike? Been like a bit solo queue?
Actually, I've been trying to desperately get, you know, somewhat respectable at Counter-Strike again. It's not going too well, but, you know, I'm giving it my all.
Yeah. Get Yanko in. He'll carry you. Yanko as well joining us, YNK. Now, I know, because I on your Instagram, you've been a bit of a holiday fiend. You went and did like a proper like magazine shoot over in Mykonos. How was that?
Not really magazine shoots, but yeah, it was nice to go actually on a proper vacation, even though I think there's a lot of people who believe that we actually don't work, we're just on vacation.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
All the time, but, you know, disconnect a little bit, not think about Counter-Strike for 10 days or so, and then it's right back into the saddle.
No chushkas?
No chushkas.
No chushkas.
That's,
Alex experienced that.
That's Alex. He was in a cool country.
Yeah.
Cool country. I was indeed. Yeah, I got a bit browner. You may struggle to believe it, but it wasn't just us that were taking our holiday. So were the players, and it is just. I think we have to kick this whole event off with it being the first really true offline event since the player break and since Roster Mania. I think I'm sure it's been discussed, you know, online in various platforms, but I think we take the opportunity here at the kind of the start of DreamHack Masters Malmo 2017 to just get our head around it all. Chad, I mean, you were throwing some stats, and so was Halvor, but it was like, what was it? 14 out of the 16 of the world's best teams are here?
Yes.
50% of them, did you say?
Changed rosters in the player break. Yep. Just absolute madness.
Just let that sink in.
It started really slow though, right? Like we all expected it to happen quickly after the major because there was all these rumors flying around that roster changes were going to happen, and then nothing seemed to happen for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then as it kind of geared up, it just all started to fall into place, and now we're left with not a mess, but an exciting time.
Yeah, okay, so let's start from the top. You mentioned the major.
Yes.
The major champions made a roster change.
That was the rumor the entire major, right? This team, apparently during practice, they were having absolutely no success. They weren't even turning up to practice. Adren apologized live on stream to the teams, saying, hey, we're sorry about that, what that happened. And then from out of nowhere, it was, okay, Zeus is going to leave. Zeus is going back to Na'Vi. This was the rumor the whole time. And then that didn't happen to begin with because they won the major, and then it was like, is he going? Isn't he going? And then there was all the rumors flying around. C's got benched during this whole time. I don't know who they wanted to get. There was rumors about Electronic and stuff, but then eventually Zeus ending up back on Na'Vi, and Gambit having to fill that void with another Kazakhstani player of Fitch.
I mean, Na'Vi felt the loss of Zeus as well as Gambit felt the benefit. They felt the loss as well. So seeing him return, however, is a part of you excited to see what he does with the pieces now, or does it still feel weird that he's even left Gambit?
It feels weird. Obviously, you win a major, you win the biggest competition in Counter-Strike, and then you decide to abandon what obviously worked very well for you to get you to that point. So it's kind of confusing. But then again, Na'Vi is kind of where everybody wants to end up if you're from that region of the world. So Na'Vi is just kind of home for anyone who wants to create a legacy within CS, it feels like. So excited to see what he's able to do, but still very, again, it's kind of been the same question mark for me around Na'Vi as it has been for pretty much a year now.
And that question mark does end up with you, Janka, to put the kind of pin in this one. Just questioning, was there some confusion from you when you saw the team that just lifted the trophy, the team that there was like, tears and celebration at that major in Krakow, to then see the leader, the catalyst to some of that success leave?
To an extent, I feel that Gambit themselves were aware that, that was a great run that they had at the major, but it's very questionable if that run was going to repeat in the near future. I think Gambit is a great team. I think they're definitely a team that can make playoffs consistently at the majors and so forth, but can they consistently be a contender with the lineup? That's the question mark. And with all the changes that were looming around in the CIS region, you wonder whether Zeus, because of the internal issues that they've had, to an extent sees that opportunity to go back to Na'Vi, where there are a lot of talented players, and also Na'Vi definitely got humbled in the period where Zeus was in Gambit, realizing how important it actually is to have a proper, not just in-game leader, but a leader figure in the team, someone with authority.
There has to be some angst there, right? C's gets benched and then put back on the starting roster. At some point, you're sitting there thinking, come on, boys, what's going on here, right? There has to be a little bit of that underlying
I thought that was probably the weirdest thing for me, the fact that they benched him with a very clear idea, especially when, Guardian gets released and everything. It seems like they have a very clear intent of what direction they want to go towards. They want to rebuild with something new, and then they bring him back in. First off, okay, yeah, C's can do better than what he's done for the, pretty much the entire time he's been an in-game leader for that team, because, let's be honest, it's not that much of a step up. But it has to do something with his confidence as well. He knows that he played way below par in his usual level while he was in-game leading, but the fact that he gets benched and then brought back in is a bit of a we couldn't actually find a replacement for you in time.
Actually could not come to the team, so
it's like
you're back in.
Yeah, it's like,
and I don't know,
the jersey back on.
As much of it is as like, we're becoming professional. This is what happens in normal sports. There's no way when you've got 5 people, just 5 people. It's not like a huge squad. And one of them is aware that you didn't quite really want him. I don't know, that's going to affect my play. I'm not sure, Janko. I think we should keep moving. So final point on this.
It goes both ways. It's a wake-up call for C's to an extent. We had that story back in 2015 where Zipex was told by Astralis that he really needs to step up, or otherwise he's going to get cut from the team. And ever since then, he's become one of the best, if not the best support player in the world.
And I think from one thread to another, we talk about Guardian. I mean, we haven't actually addressed that. Zeus had to take someone's spot, and it turns out to be the star AWPA Guardian, someone that not that long ago, in fact, probably at this very Masters, where he had an injury and came back and was like, yo, look at me, I'm ready to go, and everyone's getting excited about what he was capable of. Guardian's gone from Na'Vi. There will not be Guardian in a Na'Vi shirt. Instead, he's rocking FaZe. This is a topic in itself. This could be an hour conversation, Chad. I'll let you try and get your head around this.
More drama there, right, with his departure from Na'Vi. There was the back and forth between Simple and Guardian. I think even Guardian's wife got involved on Twitter, so nice and juicy. You can check that one out.
Everyone's getting involved.
Everyone loves a bit of Twitter banter.
Absolutely.
But no, this move to FaZe, it seems like one that is going to be better for him mentally, right? And moving him over there to replacing Alu, you have to look at it, is it an upgrade? Well, you can probably say yes. I think you'd get more out of Guardian as a versatile AWPer than you would out of Alu. But in this roster now, it's an English-speaking team, and the underlying issues of, hey, is this guy actually a problem because he doesn't want to practice, he doesn't want to go to boot camps, or is this just an issue within Na'Vi? Are we going to see a new Guardian now?
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to throw the Reddit conversation, the community conversation, which I know, however, you absolutely love.
Absolutely love that. Absolutely.
But I just want to know if we can get your opinions on this, which was just like, Alu had a good major. Alu actually looked good in FaZe. What did you make of his removal? I mean, yes, Guardian is an upgrade, and of course, Guardian is Guardian.
Yeah.
But Alu was doing all right in that FaZe shirt.
Yeah, no, I don't think you removed Alu because of he was lacking something. It's just the fact that you have the option to actually upgrade. Like a very good Alu is still a normal Guardian.
Okay.
That's kind of a thing. I think that the ceiling increases by quite a significant margin with Guardian because of what we've seen him being capable of doing, and the fact that he's still able to do that. So I think, yeah, the ceiling on your team goes up by quite a bit by getting a guy like that in your team.
And you have some degree of investment in FaZe, Yanko, to see what they're capable of. I mean, they had such a record ahead of ESL 1. We were saying, you know, playoffs every time, getting to semis and grand finals. You mess up one tournament and suddenly 2 players are cut.
It's true. At the end of the day, I don't believe that either Al or Keo were the problem for FaZe there, but it's just a matter of if you have the opportunity and the ability to get both Olofmeister and Guardian instead of them, that's definitely an upgrade. So if you can do that, why not go for it? They're definitely going to be a team that has a higher ceiling right now, players who can do more within their roles, they're capable of more. So for FaZe, it's definitely an upgrade.
It really is, and I think we will talk more about that when we come up to FaZe's games, because there is so much to talk about that star-studded roster. It could not get more ridiculous when you look at it on paper. Outside of that, of course, Olofmeister's departure. You talked about him and leaving, but of course he's left a void in Fnatic. In fact, Dennis and Olof leaving Fnatic. They're coming into a Swedish event, they're wearing Swedish shirts, and they're a roster with 1,000 question marks surrounding them, Chad. I mean, what do you make of this one?
We got to see a lot of them in Pro League last week. They actually kicked it off with Golden and Lekro. They're the 2 new additions, right? And Golden was actually, like, what he brought to the team as an individual player and from like an in-game leader perspective. Yanko and I really like the early signs that we saw. Yeah. They actually have a system. It doesn't look like Fnatic just running around like they were with Olof and Dennis just trying to get those entry frags. They actually look like they're playing a proper brand of Counter-Strike, and I'm really excited. I like to be on the Fnatic hype train.
What was the quote you said? It was a tweet about we're doing things with Golden that we hadn't done in years. What was it? Was it you that told me that? It might have been Henry. It was Jason. Do excuse me. But it was a quote just basically saying we're doing things in game that we haven't done since the the genesis of Fnatic. We're back to the Pronex kind of style of play.
The new Fnatic is very interesting, not only because of the fact that the new player Golden, who's actually not that young, you would expect like a player coming from academy team to be very young. He's 23, I believe. Him as the in-game leader, also someone who doesn't have that big of a personality or an ego simply because he hasn't won a major, he hasn't played at the big stage. He's someone that's going to take a lot more input from Jumpy as the in-game leader, from Jumpy the coach, than someone else, right? So that gives Jumpy the opportunity to implement more of his ideas within the team. And some of the early things you see them playing for each other, you know, using pop flashes properly, not going for individual plays, but actually having a teammate set you up. It's great to see. Crims has had a resurgence, that's for sure. He's been very, very dominant in the games that we saw them play, and also in the 6 matches they played in Pro League. They played 6 different maps. So also their map pool seems to be very deep for such a young and new team.
Has it ever happened before, Halvor? An academy, so these academy and main team, have you ever actually seen that? A successful upgrade, like literally, that's sports style. That's like we're bringing someone up from the B team.
Yeah, from the youth academy, that kind of thing. The hot new star. We haven't really seen it in CS, not to the point where it's actually done anything at least.
Well, all worked.
I think that's the bigger thing to really focus on, because like people try new teams or new players all the time, not necessarily like from the same branch of organization.
Wenton was that?
Wenton was not a part of it. No. But. Yeah, no, we haven't really seen it, so it would be really cool for Golden if it actually works out. I still have my questions about it. Again, it's a massive task for him because, as Yanko mentioned, he doesn't really have the same pedigree as any of the other guys on that team, even Lekro. Lekro has way more experience playing on this kind of level than Golden has, so for him to step into this role as an in-game leader and try to kind of revitalize Fnatic, obviously it's not going to be a job for him, like, on his own, but it's still a massive task, because one of the things that's really hard as an in-game leader, and one of the reasons why you don't necessarily see that much new talent in that role, is because it's an extremely big task to actually overcome. Playing CS at the highest levels is very different from what you do at Tier 2, Tier 3.
And I think Lekro's name is the one I want to kind of end the Fnatic discussion on, just because, Chad, his closet must just be full of God-sent Fnatic shirts from different months. He's just like, which one is it this time? Who am I playing for again? I can't even remember.
Well, he got out of hell again, didn't he?
He's back.
I don't know how he got out of it, but he got out again.
He might actually show up with a God-sent jersey tomorrow, or in the arena.
Yeah.
That's his country anyway.
I'm confused, honestly.
So to see him back in this roster, I think, you know, the old Fnatic, it was quite clear that Crims, JW, and Flusher, they were like 3 friends. Yeah. And I know that it might have looked like that Olof and Crims were probably like friends outside. I'm sure they were friends outside the game, but that was kind of the 2 little split camps, right? At least from my perspective anyway. And Lekro, he probably just fits in. He's probably just a normal personality. Like, he's not like a big, I don't look at him and say, hey, this guy has a huge ego. So he's probably just going to fit in quite nicely with these guys. And we have seen highlights from him before in the past where he can, you know, carry a game. He can have some star rounds. Sure. So fitting him in, basically molding him to whatever role they need, he's just a nice little rounding out addition for that Fnatic roster.
And kind of continuing in Scandinavia, there is so much to cover. I mean, this is probably just going to be a load of information. If anyone's not been keeping track of the roster mania, you can watch this back. Just go through it step by step. It's available online as well. You'll be able to find all the shuffles, but we're going to try and get our teeth through the next one, which was Denmark.
Denmark.
The Danes.
Across the bridge.
Yeah, it really is 20 minutes down the road. Yanko, I have to ask, because this was one of the ones that I raised my eyebrows the highest, which was Magis being removed from North. I mean, this has been the player we can't stop talking about on the panel for the Danes.
True, he has been in a slump in the last few months for North, and that's probably the biggest reason why he was the one to get replaced. When you look at it before with the North lineup, he's been the standout player alongside Config. So obviously when someone has a dip in performance, that's when some of the other issues become more important, like whether it's personality issues and so forth, and it seemed like those two things combined were the reason why he was the one to get benched. But I don't think it's a surprise for anyone to see that Valde was the one to replace him. That rumor has been around for quite some time, and in the little time we saw him with North in Pro League, he hasn't changed a team at all. He feels like he's right into his own.
Yeah, I mean, Valde was a player that we got excited about a long time ago. Right? He's been kind of in that third-tier Danish team. It's like Astralis, or is he going to North? There was always that question. You knew it was going to happen at some point.
Exactly. I think that pretty early on, even when we go back to, I think it was DreamHack Summer last year. When he first got his big stint on the stage and really, blew a lot of people's minds with how good he was. Everybody was just like, okay, that's going to be the next guy. Like he's just earmarked, like he's going to be picked up by either Astralis or North whenever a change occurs. I'm just, again, surprised by the fact that it was Magisk. And again, I'm not really sure what long-term this is going to do for North, because I still think they're going to run into the same kind of issues they did with the previous lineup. Now they've just gotten more or less a carbon copy of what Magisk brought to the team. So I'm not really sure if that's going to do anything, because in my opinion, in the past, North has been with how lackluster guys like AZ, for instance, have been in the role. Like whether or not he's a fit in the whole terms of like how they want to build their team, and I'm not really sure they've gotten any further on that.
You're chomping at the
bit. I think like Valde, in terms of a player compared to Magix, isn't as aggressive. He's the type of guy who's like a rock, so he still brings star power. He just doesn't bring someone who's going to be pushing every round and be very sporadic.
He's not going to be as volatile.
Exactly, and I think that was an issue with Magix, because once you have Magix and Config, both of them are off doing their own thing. That's not a very good system to build the team on. Now that you just have one of them, Config, he's still doing his thing. Then I've seen in Pro League, Valde just sitting back being a rock and winning those situations when they need to. And it's actually given a little bit more room to AZ to maybe be an entry fragger or be a little bit more aggressive, which is what he was in the past in Dignitas days. So maybe a nice change.
Okay,
I think it's a case where they do get more stability out of it. So we're going to see maybe more of North entering into a playoff and going deeper there. But again, like when we saw them win Epicenter, what they won off of was that absolutely insane volatility from Magisk and Config. The fact that their endless aggression just caught teams off guard over and over again. Yeah, it's a different look, but I'm not really sure if it's going to raise their ceiling all that much. It's just going to make them more consistent to the point where they'll be more of a threat to more teams.
Well, we definitely needed that. I think North was always a really fun one on the desk, because we just sit there and go, well, they could be top 4 or they could be grouped. We don't really know. Maybe Valde's going to give us a bit more of that consistency, a bit more predictability, and we are going to be doing some predictions later. We're not just there yet. So Optic, actually, we went over to Optic. They're not here, but that is where we saw that departure from Magisk. That's an interesting roster altogether. And we'll be talking about that now, because some of the Optic boys have been farmed by Cloud9. Now, they are here, the North Americans. We've seen Rush and Tarek sit in some Cloud9 jerseys. I'm going to throw this one to you, Yanko, because I find it very intriguing. We kind of knew that the Shroud departure was coming, but to see Shroud and Nothing sent to the sidelines and new North Americans take their place.
I think it's been a long time coming to an extent. You see Cloud9 and you see glimpses of them and how great they could be with the old lineup. For example, the Pro League finals, obviously in Brazil, the tournament which they won, also the grand finals in Cologne. But I think the problem is they couldn't do it consistently. It was a matter of perhaps Stewie having to do too much in terms of not just in-game reading, but also having to have a lot of impact on the server. And with Shroud, always the streaming, and Jordan being such an experienced player, I think it's the core of Stewie, Automatic, and Skadoodle finally coming to realization that, okay, if we really want to make the next step, we need to upgrade these players and for us to have more impact in tournaments. I think that's definitely the case, especially with Rush. I think he's the player that's been hit the most by the instability in Optic, that his performance has dropped a lot, and he was one of my favorite NA players, similar to, for example, Rain in Europe, right? Not someone who is too flashy, but someone who is has great presence of mind, a very intelligent player, and gets the job done for the team.
Rush makes sense to a lot of people. Now, it's the Tarek question mark that I think a lot of people want to explore, because you've already got your Stewie and your Automatic. You've already got this firepower. What's What's Tarek's role? I don't know how much of a joke it was, but on his stream he was like, oh yeah, we've got 4 secondary AWPers and 4 entry fraggers.
Doesn't hurt to be versatile, but it's just a mess, isn't it? Like, it's just what are the roles in this team?
Tell me, please.
I really like the fact that Stewie could be super aggressive as an in-game leader, go and find a lot of information on the T side on his own because he's always going to get a kill.
Yeah.
It's Stewie we're talking about here. And then he could relay the information and the rest of his team could make a decision based off what he's done. Now you've got a lot of players who can all do that, you know, so I don't want to take that away from Stewie. That was one of his best assets. I don't know how they're going to gel. They've started in the Pro League really poorly. They've actually, they lost the map to NRG. They've had a bit of a rough time. It's not a fantastic start for this new team. It's just one of those wait and see what happens kind of scenarios, I think.
One thing that could be, I guess, an unexpected front where Tarek is actually going to help Cloud9 in is the strategical department, because this is the weird thing, and I never would have caught myself saying that, you know, if you go back, let's say 2 months, but that's because obviously Optic was a complete mess towards the end of, or ever since losing Stanislaw, but towards the end of it, when they actually started to get at least some results here and there, have a couple of good games, that was apparently after they stopped fiddling around with trying to get Hayes to coach, Hayes to call while he was playing. And Tarek was actually the one doing some of the in-game leading. Obviously, how advanced that was, obviously, I think it's just going to be helpful in the sense that, yes, Stu is still going to be the in-game leader, but now, again, it's not only up to him in terms of like what they can actually muster up, what kind of ideas they can spawn out of a rough situation. So Tarek can actually be helpful in that sense.
I know you're not convinced, Chad, but we are going to move on.
Okay.
No, it's grasping at straws here, but you know, you got to try to find something positive with it.
And I like that.
We have a shining light.
Yeah.
There's so much more to be talked about, and then we'll get when we get those games rolling in, because we will start talking about today's games in just a moment. There is one final thing I think we have to cover now. Get it out of the way.
Jay-Z Walkings?
I was going to actually move away from the rosters and actually start talking coaches, because we haven't got that much time, and I want to make sure that this gets said, because I know, Chad, in particular, you found this interesting. I'm sure everyone has. DreamHack have made some changes to the coaching rules.
The coaches can now talk in freeze times. The first 20 seconds of every round, the coaches can now make the shots. Exactly, and that's what a lot of teams have been wanting. I think this change is going to, enable a lot of coaches. If you look at LMBT from Mouse Sports, he's going to be one that's going to have a positive effect. The Cloud9 coach, he's Valence. He's going to also have a big effect, especially now with everything being new, and the way that this is going to, affect the way we see teams play could be very interesting. I know Threat would be happy about this change. It's one that I know that the players have wanted.
I think, and we'll just kind of final thoughts from you, Yanko, on the coaching change before we dig into those groups. Did you like this when you saw it? Just saw the fact that we're going to get a bit more control to the coaches?
Yeah, I loved it, because I think it's a great balance. Coaches get to do more with the time they have in freeze time now. You get to call the strategy that you want, give a few pointers to your players, what they need to watch out for. You're keeping track of the economy, you're keeping track of what's been happening in the previous rounds, but still the players are the ones who ultimately have to make the calls once play starts. They have to make the mid-round calls, they have to make the adjustments. So I feel it's a great way to give coaches a bit more impact, but still to keep the reins in the hands of the players.
A good balance has been struck, I think, seems to be the general consensus. We'll see how it plays out, though, because of course they haven't even had the first game. The first frag has not yet gone down here in DreamHack with the new rules and the new teams. We have got the teams for you, though. Let's bring up those groups. Of course, let's not forget, we do have SK here, who were the victors over in ESL 1 Cologne, which was the very start of the Intel Grand Slam. 4 events of the rolling 10 would bring you an extra $1 million in your back pocket. Masters, ESL 1s, IEMs, all of that good stuff, including the Pro League finals, all of which will provide a little mark next to your name. 4 of which, out of the 10, an extra $1 million. It's a fantastic idea, and we're going to be seeing if SK can go ahead and get 2 out of 2 here at DreamHack Masters Malmo. The groups, though, have already disappeared. I would love to hear what you're thinking about them. Sorry if I could summon them again. Graphics Man, Graphics Magic, boom.
They're a bit sticky, aren't they? These groups.
They're a bit of an intriguing one.
I think Group A is probably the clearest cut, you would have to say, like on paper, in the fact that SK are the standout favourite there, and then North, based off what I've seen anyway, would be coming in at number 2, Cloud9 and the Singaporean team Boot. That's just a bag of mysteries.
A bag of mysteries kind of ventures into Group B as well, however, because you've got Astralis, who we haven't talked about and probably didn't need to, because no roster changes going up against
They've been rather boring. They actually did what we did. They disconnected from CS during the break. They actually didn't do anything at all, which I guess, there's no reason to actually change a winning team. Obviously, it didn't have the success that they wanted to during the major, but for the better part of it, I think Astralis are still on the right track in that sense. There's no real reason for them to shake things up. Then you have 2 massive question marks in VP and Navi. VP, again, had a really good major, at least leading up to the semifinals, where they kind of disappeared mid-game, or mid-tournament, but it's still way better than what I would have expected from them earlier. And then you have Renegades, who, again, I don't really know what to make of, and I'm not sure our fellow Australian knows either.
That's a question for not myself.
Yeah. Well, we'll bring you the rest of the groups and talk through them as well. I think with Group C, as we do return to us, Gambit as well. I mean, there is not, like, we have no idea what's about to happen when you take that leader away. You take that cog from the machine. We'll get to see them versus FaZe, NIP, and Mouse.
Yeah, now with 4 Kazakhstani players. I mean, who would have expected that a year ago? But Adren taking up the role of the in-game leader. He's been the star player of the team. You wonder, how is that going to impact his performance? Will he be able to do both at the same time? And Group C is probably the most unpredictable one. I would say any of the teams can move forward and get knocked out. We saw FaZe even in best of ones at the major, not having too good of a record, and with the format here, that's all it takes. You lose 2 best of ones and you're out. And last but not least, Group D, a similar amount of unpredictability with the likes of Immortals. We heard rumors of changes happening there despite their good run at the major. The new Fnatic lineup, we touched on that. Envious, who have been on a great run of form online, qualifying for everything more or less, and then G2, another star-studded lineup. So I think Group C and D are definitely going to be the more exciting ones.
Absolutely explosive. I mean, even with that FaZe team, you got them FaZe going up against Mouse Sports. We didn't touch on, but they made changes as well. You got the exciting Finn, Sunny, you got Sticko. We'll be talking about them when we come to them, because today's games are almost ready to kick off, and we can show you exactly what you have to look forward to as our first day does kick off. 2 streams running parallel, an A and a B stream. You're joining us here on the A stream, but you will have Just Murray and Vince guiding you through the games on that B stream. So as you can see, we'll be starting here on the left side. We have SK versus the Mystery, but what did you call them? A bag of mystery?
A bag of mystery.
A bag of mystery. It's Boot, Dreamscape. We have then Virtus Pro Na'Vi, Immortals Fnatic, and FaZe versus NIP. I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to for now. That'll be here at 5:30, thereabouts. And on the B stream, you have to look forward to, you get to see New Look Cloud9 taking on North. You get to see that French affair, G2 Envy, towards the middle of the day. And at the top of it, of course, we'll be kicking off with Astralis versus New Look Renegades. We'll see if that time off has benefited or cost Astralis. So much to look forward to, boys. It's good to be back, isn't it, Halvor?
It feels great. It's been far too long since we've seen some quality CS, and now we also get the added fun of seeing some new lineups come into fruition and see, you know, who's actually managed to mesh the best, and if they can actually bring it to the teams who actually haven't done anything at all.
Yeah. Well, we've introduced ourselves. I think it's time now to meet someone else. In fact, I met her for the very first time here last year as our very first DreamHack Masters Malmo kicked off. Smix is with us once again, and she's going to be talking to all the players. She's hanging out on the floor. Sue, it's been a long year. What have you been up to since this holiday started?
It has been a long year. It's crazy because I know that for you guys, it's been crazy left and right events back and forth and a lot of vacation for a lot of you recently. But the last time I saw you guys was actually at the last Masters event. So I'm so excited to be here with you guys again. It's nice to see you.
What are you going to be doing on that floor, Sue? We're going to be seeing the same old, getting to hear the players' thoughts?
Dance floor?
Well, big surprise, I will be doing post-match interviews and hopefully delving into their thoughts as to all the changes that have occurred and how they're meshing together. But just as an interesting note, as you guys were talking about all the roster mania that's been going on recently, I was thinking about the rosters that were in existence back at the last Masters event in Malmo, and it's crazy. So many changes have happened since then. Back then, Kerrigan was still in Astralis, which feels like a lifetime ago, and Zeus was still in Na'Vi, so I'm very interested to see what these new teams will be bringing to the table.
It has just been such a crazy year. 365 days of Counter-Strike and so much has changed. Sue, thank you so much. We'll be back with you once the first games have done. She's going to go to the dance floor. If we should go to the dance floor.
Yeah.
She has to do a little dance move every single time. And we are going to take a little boogie to a break because we are going to get this first game underway. So do stay with us as DreamHack Masters Malmo 2017. Competitive Counter-Strike is back on the menu. We're jumping into your first game. You get to see how SK are looking and what the curveball from Singapore can do. Join us after the break as we kick into our first game.
Go, you earn. Reality headsets and more. Play now at win.sliver.tv.
Grab your gear and let's go.
With the Strafe Esports app, follow your favorite teams and players, and you'll never miss a match again. Strafe, everything esports. Download now on iOS and Android.
Oh, crap.
Oh, what do we got here? Looks like a digital video game for the iPhone, Android, and iPad. It's called Pocket Morty. Look at all these little Mortys that you can run around and collect. Mustache Morty, cat Morty, one eyeball Morty. This just seems really cruel. I mean, come on. What are you doing? It's free. It's a free game. It's not pay to win either. It's Pocket Morty's. Get over here and pick it up. It's a free game.
Malmo, we return for DreamHack Masters. We're in Vegas, we've been here before, and now 2017 gets its DreamHack Masters Malmo taste again. We are going to be kicking off our very first game in the Malmo arena. The players are set up, the desk is set up, and welcome back. If you have just missed the pre-show, we just talked all about how this game has been turned upside down, and we have got a lot to be talking about. I've got myself Sponge, Hal for Vendetta Goodestol. I don't know why I didn't give you your name. Chad Birchall, as well as myself, Alex Machine, and Janko Paunovic. These are human beings that are going to be talking about the Counter-Strike. And the first one, well, why don't we kick off, pun intended, with Boot. Now, you've talked a little bit about them before, Sponge. Try and shed some light on them, because it does seem like there's very little information around this Singapore curveball.
Well, there's definitely very little information around this if you don't follow anything other than Tier 1 Counter-Strike, right? These guys are from Singapore. The headline story is DSN. And if you don't know DSN, or you're not Swedish, or you didn't follow 1.6, and you didn't know the legendary Fnatic roster, and he's the coach of this team. He used to play back in the day with Khan, Get Right, Forrest, all those kind of guys, and he is now the coach of this squad right here. But as we have the players on screen, I actually got to watch these guys playing against Greyhound, which is an Australian team, live. They were actually at a LAN cafe in Perth while I was there for all of a week. What
are the chances?
Yeah, and I got to see this team beat Greyhound on in the qualifier. And Ben Kai. He was the standout player for me anyway. He was getting a lot of work done across the board, CT side, T side, lots of different entry frags, all that kind of stuff. And to go through this qualifier, this team had to beat the likes of Tyloo, Vici, the two big Chinese names. So they've actually had like a relatively difficult road to qualifying for DreamHack Masters.
And we did see, I mean, it seems like quite the limited connection, but I mean, how have you been making them already on this desk? So pulling at straws here. Yeah, let's go. Tyloo last year. This was where they kind of came out of nowhere. We're like, what is that logo? Who is this team?
Yeah, and I mean, you don't even have to go that far back to see upsets. If you go back to Cologne, for instance, opening game, SK versus Space Soldiers. Yep. So these things do happen, and again, you know, SK hasn't been impervious to actually making those kind of mistakes and getting upset. And it's also a fact that, as unknown, you know, as this team might be for us, they're also a big unknown for SK as well. And that's obviously something that they're going to have to pull through and use to their advantage as much as possible, because let's be real, like, there's not that many golden opportunities for them to actually overcome one team.
That's SK, and in fact, SK did have a problem with the aforementioned Tyloo last year, right, Janko? I mean, it was two best of ones. They conceded both to the Chinese surprise, the curveball. Maybe it's something about the unpredictable Counter-Strike that could catch them off guard. But then again, look at that team ranking, Yanko. It says first. It was 112th next to their opponents.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be worried too much about Boot, simply because, as you said, they have experience, especially from Malmö, about getting upset by unknown teams and weaker teams. So I think they're going to be well prepared for this game. I unfortunately don't think simply that the players from Boot are on even close to SK's level individually, and that's the first and foremost thing you have to have in order to put up a good fight.
Absolutely, and I think that's where I have to kind of raise the question is, do we start that conversation once again about the respect, or are SK above that? Are they above the whole disrespectful Counter-Strike where we're just going to run at you until you do something different?
I think Yanko just touched on it there, is the fact that they're not going to allow this to be a matchup where they don't take it seriously off the bat. Okay. Right? Even if they're going to play aggressive CS, it's not going to be, they're not going to go in without a game plan. They're going to have done their due diligence, and they're going to be ready for this matchup so they don't get another upset like they've seen happen to them in the past. And also coming off that major loss, it was to Astralis. But they're going to want to be biting back quickly. And
you said it before, actually, 2 best of 1s and you're out. That's brutal.
This format is really scary, right? You fly all the way here, especially for these guys from Singapore, and you lose 2 best of... You have SK first. That's pretty daunting.
Let's assume that you don't hit that one. You then have 1 map of Counter-Strike.
Versus either North or Cloud9.
Or Cloud9.
To survive.
Not easy.
I can tell you firsthand, Alex, that's not a nice feeling.
You've been there then, Chad?
Yeah, very similar settings. It's not a place that anybody wants to be.
More time on the plane than you do actually playing at the event.
Well, you get to see the lovely cities we go to, right? Sure. I guess that's a positive that I can reach at.
I mean, they've been in Copenhagen boot camping for a week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've actually done all the sightseeing as well.
Yeah.
I guess the next question is going to be, where on earth do you want to play SK? Is there an Achilles heel to the veto process for them? Yanko, I guess I'll throw this into your sweet and loving hands as we're going to be rushing through the veto.
I mean, this is unfortunately one of those situations where it really does not matter that much which map they're going to play, as long as it's not Nuke. The map that SK doesn't really play, as long as they veto that, I think they're more or less fine. Usually with underdogs, you look towards perhaps, okay, so they're going to have set pieces and things like that, so maybe go to a more strategic map, something along the lines of Train. Okay, Train's banned, or Overpass, but really at the end of the day, it doesn't have to mean anything. SK is just on a different level individually, so unless Boot can show that they can frag, they're not going to have a good time here.
I think the best case scenario is for Boot is pretty much like you have to take such a big gambit when you're going up against a team that's on paper so much better, and well, in reality, really, just so much better than you, that you have to go the route of gambling on 1 map going through. Yeah. Basically, just assume that you're going to know what SK's veto is, and you specifically game plan for that 1 map. You have everything set up. Pretty much just do all of your focus, put all of your focus on that, to the point where you pretty much have 30 rounds planned out in your head as to what you want to do, because you notice the tendencies of SKs as to what they do on their first buy rounds, for instance, or what they prefer to do in pistol rounds. So you can actually get off to that start where you actually put a bit of a shock and fear into the hearts of SK. Obviously, that's an extremely daunting task and probably impossible, but again, they don't really have too many other options to go with.
Mirage. It was the same map that Tai Lu caused the upset on SK last year.
Let them play their best map.
Yeah.
Why not?
just give it to SK.
It's an interesting little decision there. Imagine them on Overpass, Fer just disrespecting and pushing every round and absolutely mauling them. It's just
going to be
fun
the same
for me to watch
now.
Well, yeah, they do like that aggression on Mirage as well.
Yeah, Fer, especially in early starts on the CT side, just loves standing upside of mid. Some might call it, eco hunt fragging. That's fair, but it's also something about putting people out at ease. Really.
Yanko called me an e-cobra. Yeah,
Eco-Cobra,
yeah. Alex just waits for that eco round and goes in, gets his MVP star, and
that's all I need to know. I planned the bomb as well, Yanko. I mean,
hey, someone's got to get those eco frags.
Exactly.
Someone has to plant the bomb. Someone has to get those eco frags. Don't let him take that away from you.
Just call me happy, man. Just call me happy. We need to talk a little bit about those predictions, though.
Hold up, Alex. Before we get stuck into predictions, you know how seriously we take predictions here.
Yeah.
We love
be all of us.
Exactly. As analysts, we pride ourselves on this, and I've actually constructed a trophy for us to take home the winner. Whoever wins the predictions over the week, you can be involved in this.
Can I please?
Coming later.
Because I saw you make this.
So this is the lovely trophy that I've constructed. Let me turn it towards towards the camera. So as you can see, we have the brains of CS:GO. the smartest man in all of the industry, Mr. Duncan Thorin Shields. He is the head of the statue. We have the heart of North America, the most passionate man that we all know, Jason Moses O'Toole. And then just to round it out, we have Henry for the stamina of the statue, you know, just to get us through these days.
It can be long. It can be long.
Yeah, and what I think we do, boys, is whoever wins the prediction challenge over the course of this event, we will replace Duncan's head with their head.
That's fair.
And does this trophy carry on? Like, do you only get to keep it until the next prediction event?
You hold on to it until the next event.
Wow, this is exciting.
Yeah, we can move it with us wherever we go.
I just want everyone to be aware, by the way, Chad actually made this. This was not something that he was given. You've gone out of your way to build this thing, this abomination.
I just love the fact that you actually gave it gloves.
Well, I thought, you know, it needed something.
Glowing fist.
It needed something.
Okay,
like
I don't want to ruin the pose.
We'll make it dab later.
Oh my god, yeah, I won't do it now. It's too much fun. Okay, so either way, that is what the predictions will be riding on. That is our trophy to look forward to. Many more analysts will be joining you as well to be part of that competition.
Just
but
one more.
for now, just one more, Jacob. No, yeah, you're right. Many more, Jacob. We'll be seeing Pimp a little later on. But for now, I think you're the Pimp that was chosen for the 3 reasons why.
Just have to look down the barrel, don't I?
Look straight down the barrel and tell us why you voted for SK to pick up this win.
3 big reasons as to why I voted for SK to take down Boot. Cold Zero.
Wrong camera.
Greatest player. Which camera am I looking at?
There we go.
They lied to me. They said that one.
Over here.
This gentleman over here waving. Let's try again. All right, Cold Zero, the greatest player in the world. He's the reason number 1.
Yeah.
Reason number 2 is Fallen, the greatest in-game leader in the world. And reason number 3, Fur. Just cause SK have some of the best players in the world, and they're just going to absolutely manhandle this roster.
I feel like we can take Duncan's head off immediately and just put Chad's in.
Do we have? Do we have your face ready?
Stuff.
That is the analysis that we've got him here for.
Look, when you have some of the best players in the world in this roster, you got the best in-game leader, a guy who has basically reinvented the way AWPing is done, going up against a team who isn't even ranked inside the top 20.
Top 100.
They're going to cop one of these bad boys. The green one. They're going to cop one of them.
They're going to
Where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah,
absolutely. Now, just to clarify, there will be more structure to those 3 reasons why.
Oh, definitely. So that was a joke.
Yeah.
But that is, at this point, because of the mismatch where we've taken it, just 3 of SK's players are going to go off. And I think, with all of that said and done, we know SK coming into this one as hot favourites. The only question left for you guys as we wait for the game to get kicked off is actually, Yanko, SK Gaming, not the lackluster performance at the major. I think they wouldn't complain of us describing it as such. No changes made. Was it just a question of, better teams showing up? Was it underperformance from SK? Or is this just going to be same roster, give us another year, we're going to be back on top?
Yeah, you feel that they were just outmatched in that quarterfinal game against Astralis. We all remember that Overpass game and how Device dominated Fallen in that AWP battle. That's something you've probably never seen Fallen being dominated so hard, and I think that was the problem eventually. Astralis were just better prepared for that game and played better on the day, but for SK there are no changes that need to be made. They're a team that's very well aware of what needs to be done for them to remain on top and keep being a contender for titles.
They have their winning formula then, Halvor. I think it's just a question of putting it all into action. Is that? I mean, it was Astralis best of 3, surely. I mean, is that going to be the caveat we put to them?
There's no shame in losing to Astralis in a best of 3 by any means. Astralis has been one of the best teams of all 2017.
Sure.
So there's definitely not this is the end of days for SK by any means. And even though, funnily enough, there were rumors that they would, they were thinking of making changes as well. But I think they're making the right choice of just sticking together. Again, this was more of an anomaly, the fact that they don't make it to a semifinals of a major more than anything else, and I think we're going to see that coming into fruition.
It's probably more personnel changes outside of game for SK as opposed to in-game, Alex, but we won't get stuck into that.
Think they need a new manager, new driver?
No, I think they still have that. That's all probably the same.
New social media person?
Maybe a new brand manager.
Okay.
Always needs a good one.
It's always important, and everything outside of game. Dude, everyone's been doing there's NIP have hired, is it NIP? Yeah, they've hired a mental coach. I've saw Astralis have been given bedtimes and watches now. We'll talk about that later on.
Bedtimes and watches?
Oh yeah, they've got fancy watches. They'll all be wearing orange watches. Keep your eyes on that. I don't even know if that's public knowledge, but keep your eyes on their wrists, and we are going to go ahead and get right on into the nitty gritty. Predictions, gents. It's going to be the quickest predictions you've ever seen in your life, but this is on the line, so we have to do it. Please just say the team name and we'll work our way down.
SK.
Yeah, catch up with that, graphics. What have you got?
Are we going to put you down for SK as well?
Please, yeah. Are you going to be the scorekeeper?
I guess I can be. This can be, but I assume we're all picking SK. We'll even put Pimp down for SK.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Okay. So I'll do up an
Are we giving him a free point?
Well, no.
Otherwise, it's unfair.
Everyone
gets to do it.
But everybody has breaks.
Yeah, but we can all do the predictions
for
everything.
Actually, Alex doesn't. Well, you needed a bit of a.
Alex, did you see my hosting during Pro League? I can give you a hand if you need.
You give me a hand?
I'll give you a hand.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Day 1, segment 1, and Chad is already offering favors in order to pick this trophy up. We are ready, though, and going to give some more favors for you guys at home because we've got a casting duo you guys will recognize. Henry is standing by with his partner in crime, Mr. Sadakist. Hello, gents. You ready to kick back off? Get your teeth back into some Counter-Strike?
Yeah, it's been a while, especially for you, Matt. You've been away for a bit.
Yeah.
Ready to kick off again?
Well, I got out of bed, so
nice.
that's the start of things, I think. I like that trophy. I actually was really hoping you'd put my face on the ass, Chad.
We can probably work on that. We can continue to build because there's a bit of space and it's got a nice booty.
Yeah.
We can work on that.
I feel like the guy who ends like very last should get his face on the Achilles heel.
That's a play. That's a play.
Ooh.
So, I mean, have you been rest and relaxation? You've been coming in zen, Matt? You've been doing, I saw some like racing. We just saw some cycling. What have you been up to?
Lots of yoga.
Yoga?
Yeah, speaking of zen. Namaste. Every day, yoga.
Namaste. Well, we will say namaste, and we'll leave you two to go ahead and do what you do best.
I probably said that wrong, Henry, but that's all right.
It
How are
sounded
you?
pretty good. Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
all right. It's good to be back. I've been kind of casting a little bit. It's been interesting doing it. At least have a platform and show us what they're made of, maybe have some star players and some good aims to bring to the
That's
table.
the storyline we put on every team that comes here, but this is perhaps the most unexpected or unknown. Look, we saw Chiefs come in, same situation, who skyrocketed through the leaderboards, although I think they were like 42nd or 46th or something in the rankings, whatever that's worth. So, yeah, look, great to see another team here, a team we're not normally used to seeing. Good for promotion, good for them, but not expecting much against SK. We said the same last year with Tyloo, and they managed to win it, so who knows?
Well, we do see upsets generally with the first game of the day. Think back to Cologne. Obviously, these guys lost to Space Soldiers in the opening game. A little bit of a different matchup, but I'm hoping we do see something a little bit explosive from Boot. Maybe some star players coming to the forefront. We'll see what happens here as we go towards A. Will be the set piece. A couple of smokes towards jungle and the steps area. And the shot's starting to fly in now. No damage really inflicted just yet, but there it is. Fur. He does take down Tommy.
Decent shot, falls back away from the smoke. They haven't covered off CT, so they'll be able to re-peek back in, same side. Smoke will not allow Fur all the way through until his teammates get in first, but bomb down, they're going to go in the attack. Good headshot back toward Phelps, but he backs off and lets Fallen take the fight instead. And it's just Moxie remaining.
Good luck, Moxie. I don't think this one's going to work out for you. There is a kill available for SK. What does he even decide to do here? He might get one kill. There's one, but the bomb will be defused. So pretty standard pistol round coming in from the Boot side. Those two smokes I described there, but unfortunately not really getting much done in terms of fragging. Good news is they do get a bomb down, so third round AKs will be coming out, but a chance for SK now, usually getting the 5 SMGs out. Here's the replay of, I assume, Fur getting shot to the smoke. A couple of gaps there, but those smokes aren't always perfect. It's a little bit difficult to have them spot on. So for round number 2, Boots will be bringing out Desert Eagles, P250s, Flashbang as well, back towards the A side. 3.
The next gen. Who are the next gen?
Its entrance from the Palace, Moxie follows up. Not the same Moxie you might know if you follow the Twitch streaming world. Different gender altogether, if I'm honest. Taco takes down Impression. 2 bomb plants in a row, though. Watch for the early buy. No, easily take care of Benkai and Moxie and get another defuse, but Boots will have a chance to try and get into this, or Boot, I should say. I think it's Booties. Let's go with Booties.
Yeah, I like that. They can even bring out an AWP map.
I know you love the little booties.
The little booties. I'm sure we'll be seeing them as the tournament progresses. But yeah, they could bring out an AWP if they wanted to. I doubt they will. They'll probably go for the 5 AKs and the full array of utility here. But SK, this is something I normally talk about with them especially. They love to go for that 5 SMG setup in the second round. I can see they brought out an AWP just about. Presumably that goes in the hands of Fallen, but MP9s, UMPs, 1 M4 for Phelps, but watch out for Fire. He's one of the craziest MP9 users in the game. It's absolutely bananas what he can do with that weapon. We're going back towards A once again. 4 players outside the bomb side itself. Tommy working towards the underpass. So what's his play here? Surely he comes in for the A split eventually. Trying to hold some rotations here, show some presence towards middle. I'm assuming we'll see the wall of smoke. But unfortunately, there it is. That MP9 comes in, takes down Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy got the first shot with the AK as well and had armor, so bit of a misplay. Fur's able to get away with one upgrade to the AK-47. Phelps already covering off top with a connection point, has Fallen and Fur with him, so no chance they're going up middle. Rightfully not doing so. They'll go back inside the smoke. Another bomb plant, though, coming in, so they are at least getting the bombs down. Impression is making one on me because both times he's entered, he's found frags, but good shot from Cold as Benkai goes back down to the Deagle. Taco will nade back in the right direction, general direction, although slightly opposite. It catches the cinders and doesn't do much damage onto Moxie.
Yeah, difficult situation now for Boot. You can see got no utility to work with here. Bomb is ticking away though. 3-on-2 situation in favor of SK Gaming as the pincer finally comes in. Lovely shot there from Taco. 3 versus 1 now. Need to get that defuse in. If Splash can find 1 frag here, which he does, it could be enough, but I still think the defuse is absolutely fine here for SK Gaming. Indeed it is. But you're right, once again, Boot do get the bomb down. 3 in a row. Means the money probably is okay. I don't think they'll get a full buy here. They can probably bring out Techline's armor if they wanted to, or they might just take the eco here. But SK, a little bit hairy at times. They did lose a couple of frags there. 3-on-3 when the bomb got planted, but that 1D from Cold Zero certainly got them back into the round, and it will be the eco here from Boot. We did see DSN on screen just then.
I have not seen the confetti on defuse in a long time.
Yeah, that was the big 5-year surprise for CSGO, and that's all they gave us. I was a little bit
Listen, man, it's awesome. What's wrong with confetti and stuff like cheering?
It just felt like
when
they,
the good guys
they
win,
forgot
you
it was
should have a
coming
party.
up. They forgot it was coming. And
they probably did because they were sitting and celebrating Dota's 13-month and 2-week, 1-day and 6-hour anniversary or something along those lines.
But they gave us confetti.
They might even know the second for Dota.
Well, for now, Splash. We're gonna translate it all in. Splash.
I'm going with Splash.
Splash. Let's go Splash. I'm not going to pronounce that. It's going to go horribly wrong. But 4-0, that was the eco from Boot. And a little spray down there. Good job from Phelps. That's another full buy for Boot. Not bringing out the orbs at all as of yet. Obviously, we don't really know what the roles really mean for Boot here. But for now, 5 AKs, full buy once again. 3 bombs so far, but no rounds posted. It will be a default this time. No AXQ. Fallen getting aggressive towards the lower ramp, it seems, as well, trying to find a bit of information here. He is known as the combat AWPer of CSGO, but Tommy, he's got up towards short very quickly. It seems like he's undetected as well.
Yeah, he's got a gap to work with. This could be very hard for them to detect because Cold, after giving the support to his teammate, is watching down towards short. He's going to have no idea. Oh, but he shoots too soon. Makes up for it to at least get Taco. If he had trigger discipline in that situation, it's hard when you're inexperienced. Could have easily walked in and done a lot more damage as Fallen finds 2 quickly. Will go down to Moxie as another bomb plant perhaps in the cards, or is it going to be denied just barely? Yes, it is.
Quite an exciting situation there for Tommy, especially. He got all the way up short. Has 2 on his screen, but he misses that first shot. He does get 1 frag, but didn't really do enough for him there. And it will be the 5th round for SK Gaming. Lovely stop from Fallen. As we know, very good the close range AWP. Could have found that 3rd frag as well. I was waiting for that no-scope to come through, but doesn't quite connect. And there it is, 5-0. Maximum loss bonus, but no bomb this time. There is definitely enough for a buy here from Boots. They've got about $4,000 per player. And I'm sure they will buy into it. It doesn't really seem worth taking an eco here. But round number 6, I was thinking coming into this game, this would be like a 16-3 game for SK, the current number 1. Technically on the leaderboard, I'm not sure the form of the major would suggest that, but still, Boots, a team outside the top 100 here, don't really have any international experience whatsoever. It's quite difficult to grow as a team when you're just in the Asian region. Yeah. What does Boots stand for? Do we have any idea?
Booties.
Oh, just Booties, yeah. Or I'll think of something good.
Yeah, there's nothing I got. I'm sorry.
I've got some ideas.
All right, you get back to me. Yeah. You are the writer of this show. I'm just merely an actor. Phelps looking over top of the smoke toward top middle. No one peeking out just yet. Impression is their bombs drop behind him, so looking for picks rather than clean entrances this time is Boots. Fur Fallen and Phelps again will group inside of Connector. No one toward A this time, so going more passive based on the information that they have. Single smoke on Palace, so they have an escape plan from the connecting point, but be cautious because that's gone. Thankfully for their sake, no one there.
Well, this is looking promising though. The mid control coming through for Boots, but unfortunately Cold Zero mows one down from CPL using the vents, but there's a refrag potential there. Doesn't happen though. Actually, Tommy going down to 18 points of health, but there it is. He finally gets a frag. 4-4 for now, but it's just falling apart once again. Phelps, he strikes from the connector, and now Taco pushing off towards short.
Back over toward B. Taco, as you mentioned, going to be there in time, plenty of time. Not necessarily his best position. He plays under the window so they can't drop out, but he's got Phelps now in a better position to spot when they come in, so they will be spotted before the entry exchange.
They've got 1 smoke and a few flashbangs here. I think this will be a classic contact play Walk as deep into the side as you can before you're spotted, then that's your cue to really explode. There it is. Phelps takes the shot, doesn't get anything just yet. Actually, not looking too hot, but does manage to find the first frag. That should be the round concluded. Moxie left in a 3 versus 1. He's towards the apartments area. Flashed as well. That should be the frag, but a nice shot from Moxie. Showing us a bit of flair here. Has to plant with just 5 seconds remaining, and it will actually come through as well.
Just barely. Needs to be light. Good spotting from Fur, though. Knew he was on the inside of that pillar. Had the angle covered off. So SK continuing to look, I won't say unchallenged, undefeated in rounds, but they have had a few occasions where, again, going back to the first gun round, the deagle from Cole pulled them back into it after losing the initial exchange. And there's been some situations that aren't always been an easy, breezy time.
Yeah, it hasn't been a complete walk in the park for sure. Boots have found a few frags and made things uncomfortable. They've got the bomb down 4 times out of 6, so they're doing things correctly in terms of the general approach to each round. The fact you're planting bombs, that means you're getting something right. It hasn't been like they've just